Hi everyone. So in this video we'll discuss about Selenium important interview questions. In the last video we have already discussed about Java important questions. So let's understand these important questions related to Selenium. So very first question is, what is Selenium and why Selenium is used? So Selenium is an open source tool used for automating web applications across different browsers and platforms. Why Selenium used? Because it supports multiple languages, browsers, and operating systems, integrates well with CI/CD tools, and it's cost effective. So this is about Selenium. Then we have components of Selenium: IDE, WebDriver, and Grid. So let's understand them. So Selenium IDE, a browser extension used to record and playback test cases, used for creating basic test script. Then Selenium WebDriver, the core concept component of Selenium used to automate browsers programmatically. It supports multiple languages: Java, C Sharp, Python, and JavaScript. Supports multiple browsers as well. Then Selenium Grid, used to run tests in parallel across multiple machines and browsers. Parallel execution, cross-browser testing simultaneously, and cross-platform testing is also possible in the Selenium Grid. So these are the three different Selenium components. Then next question is difference between get method and navigate.to method. So both get and navigate.to method are used to open a URL in Selenium. The main difference is that navigate provides additional browser navigation methods like back, forward, and refresh, while get is mainly used for loading a web page. And also it takes time to load the web page completely, get method, but it will not wait for the page to completely load, the navigate method, right? Okay, the next question is, what are locators and what is a most reliable locator? So locators are used in Selenium to identify web elements on a web page. So there are 8 different types of locators: tag name, ID name, class name, link text, partial link text, then CSS selector, and XPath. So ID is considered the most reliable and fastest locator because it is unique and stable. If ID is not available, CSS selector is generally preferred over XPath for better performance. Then fifth question is a difference between findElement and findElements. So findElement returns the first matching web element and throws no such element exception if not found. FindElements returns a list of matching elements and returns an empty list if none are found. It is safer for validating element presence. The next question is, what is WebDriver interface? WebDriver is an interface in Selenium that defines methods to control a web browser. Browser specific drivers like Chrome driver, Firefox driver implements this interface. It allows automation script to interact with different browsers using the same set of methods. So basically it provides different Chrome driver and Firefox driver. It is a specific driver, right? Interface, WebDriver interface. Okay, so this is about WebDriver interface. The next question is the difference between close and quit method. So close closes only the current browser window, and whereas quit closes all the browser windows and ends the WebDriver session completely. Quit is generally used at the end of test execution to clean up all the resources. So that's the difference between close and quit. How do you handle a browser pop-ups? So to handle browser pop-ups in Selenium, first identify the type of pop-up. So there are 6 different types of pop-ups. JavaScript alerts are handled using a switch.to alert. So there are 6 different types of pop-ups. First is hidden division, where we can inspect that division, inspect that cross icon, and we can click on that icon like that. That is referred as hidden division. Then we have alert pop-up, and we have then after alert we have this pop-up, different window pop-up. So it will open the new window to switch the window, and then other are related to download, upload, and like those. So hidden division pop-ups are handled using normal locators. Authentication pop-ups can be handled by passing credentials in the URL or using browser options. Each pop-up type requires a different handling approach. So yeah, so mainly we will be having alert and hidden division, and this switch window. Switch window is also important. I will explain the in the next separate question how to switch the windows. So that is also important question. So let's understand the next question. What is page object model? So page object model is a design pattern in Selenium where each web page is represented as a separate class containing web elements and related actions. It improves code maintainability, reusability, and readability by separating test logic from page logic. Why do we use actions class? We use the actions class in Selenium to handle complex user interactions like a mouse hover, drag and drop, right click, double click, and keyboard combinations that cannot be performed using basic WebDriver methods. Actions act is equal to new actions driver, then act dot move to element dot perform. So this element will be web element is equal to driver dot find element by dot xpath or css, and how then we will use that variable element here. So these are the actions that we handle using the actions class. How to handle dropdown in Selenium? So in Selenium, dropdown are handled using the select class when the dropdown is built with a select tag. For custom dropdowns built using div or li element, we handle them using normal click actions. For multi-select dropdowns, we use is multiple and deselect methods. Web element is equal to driver dot find element by dot xpath. Select id is equal to month. Then select is equal to new select element and select dot select by text, and this will be the march. Again we have select by visible text. I guess it's select by visible text, not visible text, and select by index and select by value. So these are the three different methods we will be using to select the value from the drop down. Then we have next is how do you handle dynamic elements. So dynamic elements are handled by creating dynamic XPath or CSS locators using functions like contains and starts with. We use explicit wait to handle the loading delays and relocate elements to handle stale element exceptions. Driver.findElement by .xpath input contains id user. Difference between implicit wait and explicit wait and fluent wait. Implicit wait is applied globally and waits for element presence. Explicit wait waits for a specific condition for a particular element. Fluent wait is in advanced version for explicit wait that allows custom polling time and exception handling. Implicit wait is used like driver.manage.timeouts.implicit wait duration dot of seconds. Explicit wait WebDriver wait is equal to new WebDriver wait driver comma duration dot of second wait dot until expected conditions dot visibility of elements located by dot id. And this is the fluent wait WebDriver wait is equal to new fluent wait driver will pass then dot with timeout duration dot of seconds dot polling every duration dot of seconds dot ignoring no such element exception dot class wait dot until expected conditions dot visibility of element located by dot id this. So then next question is how to handle the iframes. To handle iframes in Selenium, we use driver dot switch to dot frame by index name or web element. After performing actions, we switch back using a default content or parent frame. Web element frame is equal to driver dot find element by dot id frame id driver dot switch to dot frame driver dot switch to dot default content. How to handle multiple windows or tabs. We handle multiple windows using get window handles and get window handle, sorry. We store the parent window loop through all the window handles, switch to the required window using switch to dot windows, and switch back after completing the actions. So basically we will first use this code driver.get window handles, and it will store in the set of strings, and variable will be all windows, right? Then we will pass all window in the array list of string array is equal to new array list all windows. And then as per the requirement we will switch driver dot switch to dot window array dot get method, and we will pass one. So one will be the child window, and get 0 will be the parent window. So when we have to move to the child window we will use as one, and when we have to move to the parent window we have to use get 0. How to handle alerts. To handle alerts in Selenium, we use driver.switch to .alert. Then we use accept to click OK, and dismiss to click cancel. Send keys for prompt alerts, and get text to capture the alert message. So alert is equal to driver.switch to .alert and alert.accept. So we will use alert.accept when the OK button is there on the alert pop-up. And if there is a cancel button, then we will use alert.dismiss method. Okay, and to get the text from on the alert message we will use get text method. How do you handle file upload and file download? So for file upload we use send keys to send the file path to the input type is equal to file. So whenever input type is equal to file, then only we can use this element. For file download we configure a browser setting to set the download directory and verify the file using file class. Web element upload is equal to driver.findElement by .id upload. upload dot send keys, and we will use these send keys here. So all the path here. And then we have next question is what is style element reference exception? So style element reference exception occurs when Selenium tries to interact with an element that is no longer attached to the DOM. Usually after page refresh or dynamic updates, it can be handled by relocating the element or using the explicit wait. So next question is, how do you take screenshots in Selenium? In Selenium, we take screenshots using the text screenshot interface. We cast the driver to text screenshot and use get screenshot as method. Screenshots are commonly captured when a text fails and stored in a specific folder for reporting. Text screenshot ts is equal to text screenshot driver. File src is equal to ts.get screenshot as output type.file. File text is equal to new file c screenshot text.png. Files.copy src.toPath, comma dex.toPath. How do you scroll using Selenium? In Selenium, scrolling is done using JavaScript executor. We use windows.scrollby. To scroll by pixels, scroll to go to top or bottom, and scrolling into view to scroll to a specific element. We can also use actions class or keyboard keys for scrolling. Web element is equal to driver.findElement by.id. Footer. JavaScript executor JS is equal to JavaScript executor driver js.execute script augment a dot scroll into view true, and we will use here element, the element that we have found. So these are the methods to use. This is method, very important method to scroll in the Selenium. How to validate broken links in Selenium? To validate broken links, we first collect all the anchor tags using Selenium, get their href attribute, and use HTTP URL connection to fetch the HTTP response code. If the response code is 400 or above, the link is considered broken. So the steps are collect all the links, then get href attribute, open HTTP connection, get response code, and print the broken links. How do you capture network or API calls using Selenium? Selenium cannot directly capture the network calls, but in Selenium 4 we use DevTools, Chrome DevTools protocols to capture API request and response. We can listen to request and response events and validate status codes, headers, and payloads. How do you handle calendar date picker? Calendar handling depends on implementation. If it is a simple input type date, we use send keys. If it is a customer date picker, we click the date field, navigate to the required month and year, and select the day using the dynamic XPath or loops. Driver.findElement by.id.send keys 432206. What is TestNG and why it is used? TestNG is a Java-based testing framework used with Selenium to organize and execute test cases. It provides features like annotations, parallel execution, grouping, parameterization, dependency management, and built-in reporting, which Selenium alone does not provide. Difference between before suit, after, before test, before class, before method. Before suit runs once before the entire suit. Before test runs before each test tag in testng.xml. Before class runs once before all the test methods in a class. Before method runs before every test method. What is TestNG.xml? TestNG.xml is a configuration file in TestNG used to control the test execution. It allows us to define test suite, classes, groups, parameters, and a parallel execution test setting. Suite name is equal to suite name, test name is equal to test name, classes. So these will be the two classes here, home test, login test, and then the classes test suite. So this is the XML file. This is how it looks. And how do you perform parallel execution? The next question, which says parallel execution in TestNG is done using the parallel attribute in testng.xml, such as test classes or methods with thread count. For thread safety, we use thread local WebDriver in framework. What is data provider? Data provider in TestNG is used for data driven testing. It allows a test method to run multiple times with a different set of data by returning a two-dimensional object array. Data provider name is equal to login data, public object, get data, and return a new object, and we will use the data like this. And then whenever we have to use, we will use at the test data provider is equal to login data, and public void login test string username string password. We have to pass these parameters, and we can print username plus password, and this will execute 3 times because we have 3 data here, and it will print username and password 3 times. Then difference between at the test priority and depends on method. So priority controls the execution order of test methods, but it does not create dependency. It will be in ascending order, like -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. So from a low value to the high value, like that, or in the ascending order. Depends on method creates a dependency. Depends on method creates a dependency between tests, and if the dependent method fails, the next text will be skipped. Then our next question is how to skip the test case. In TestNG, we can skip a test using enabled is equal to false by throwing skip execution at runtime using depends on method for dependency based skipping, or by excluding groups in TestNG.xml. So these are the three different methods we can use to skip a specific test case. Then what is assertions, hard versus soft assertion? Assertions is used to validate expected and actual results in TestNG. Hard assert stops execution immediately on failure, while soft assert continues execution and reports all the failures at the end using assert all. Assert equals login, comma home. Then system dot out dot println, this line will not execute. Soft asserts, soft is equal to new soft assert. So this is about soft assert. Before we need to create one variable here, and then soft dot assert equals login, comma home. System dot out dot println, this line will execute. So here it will fail directly, it will not execute the line, but it will execute. And also we have to use soft dot assert all. It is a mandatory step to execute all the print all everything, right? Then how do you group test cases? So in TestNG, we group test cases using the group attribute at the test annotation. We can include or exclude specific groups in TestNG.xml to execute selected test cases like smoke or regression. At the test groups is equal to smoke, a public void a login test. Then at the test groups is equal to regression, a public void payment test. Test groups is equal to smoke, regression, public void checkout test. A suit name is equal to suit, a test name is equal to smoke test groups, a run include name is equal to smoke. So this is the complete thing about how to execute the groups. How to generate TestNG reports. TestNG automatically generates default HTML reports inside the test output folder after execution. For advanced reporting with screenshots and detailed logs, we integrate tools like Extend Report or Allure in automation frameworks. So these are the important Selenium related questions, Selenium and TestNG related questions. So I hope you liked all the questions and you will prepare well so that you can easily crack the interview related to automation testing. Yeah, that is it. Thank you.